We're going to begin this Monday morning with the very latest in the war between Israel and Hamas. Israel's military confirms its ground forces are now attacking into southern Gaza, and that is bringing a new urgent warning from the United Nations Children's Fund.
I don't think there was more than a 5 or 10 minute period throughout the course of the night, and I really didn't sleep, where something wasn't flying overhead or the sky being lit up.
That is the voice of UNICEF spokesperson James Elder in a social media post this morning. And this is video into us this morning from Khan Yunis, the southern city where hundreds of thousands of Palestinians were ordered to go as a refuge from the fighting in northern Gaza. Israel's military is now telling civilians to evacuate from neighborhoods there, too. And in a new message on social media, an Israeli military spokesperson insists ground forces are doing everything they can to protect civilians.
We pursued them in northern Gaza. We're now pursuing Hamas in southern Gaza too. We will operate in maximum force against Hamas terrorists and infrastructures while minimizing harm to the civilian that Hamas places around them as shields.
More Canadians who had been trying to escape the fighting in Gaza are now in Egypt. Global Affairs Canada says about 130 people were able to exit through the Rafah gate over the weekend. There are no Canadians on the exit list published this morning by the Gaza Border Authority. The statement from Global Affairs describes the situation as, quote, unpredictable and fluid. So we'll watch that part of the story today. But we're going to begin the coverage with Sarah Coates live in Tel Aviv this morning. Sarah, Israel's military says it is now in southern Gaza. As you heard, it is expanding and accelerating the ground offensive in the days since the temporary pause ended on Friday. What is the latest as we begin this Monday morning?
Good morning, Heather. Well, look, according to aid agencies, there's chaos and confusion on the ground as the IDF continues to drop these flyers over neighbourhoods in Khan Yunis in the south, telling these residents to move even further south down toward Rafah, with the military saying that Khan Yunis will be the focus of its operation over the next few days, saying that it believes that Hamas fighters are hiding there. Now, we've just heard an Army lieutenant speaking on Army radio saying that the IDF's operation in the north of the Strip has almost achieved its goals, saying that there's now fighting right across the coastal enclave. Now, we've also heard from the UN's humanitarian body. It says that so far, around 1.8 million people have been internally displaced in the Gaza Strip. That makes up for around 75 to 80% of the population, with that same body saying it's also seeing a spread of infections and diseases down in these places like the south, where people are absolutely crammed together. They're saying they're seeing diarrhea and respiratory infections. So it's certainly a very worrying condition, especially given that there have been barely any aid trucks that have come through that Rafah crossing in the last few days, simply because of these bombings happening.
Sarah, there are also new raids into the West Bank and new tensions we are hearing about on Israel's border with Lebanon to the north. So what are we hearing on those particular fronts?
You're certainly right. Well, look, Palestinian media is reporting that dozens of people were arrested right across the West Bank in these overnight raids, which have become a daily occurrence now since those October 7 attacks. We do understand that 2 people have also been wounded, or killed rather, I should say. That hasn't been confirmed by the IDF, although it has been saying that it is trying to root out terrorists in the West Bank. Now, with regards to that northern border, cross-border skirmishes are intensifying. Hezbollah, which is operating there in Lebanon, has come out to say that it fired anti-tank missiles across that border in the last day. We do know that around 12 people were wounded, with the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu once again warning Hezbollah, warning Lebanon, do not get involved, saying that the IDF will completely destroy Lebanon if Hezbollah decides to get more involved in this war. So certainly very worrying, and this is why we're seeing these 2 US aircraft carriers sitting in the eastern Mediterranean. This is because it says it's acting as a deterrent against these Iranian-backed proxies.